in the bumper cars. The call came in. It took a while for the police to get there. You went off the road. You never brushed the snow off your window. You were an unguided missile. I'm really glad you didn't hit somebody else. Even with the officers, they asked you on a scale of 1 to 10, how drunk do you think I am? You said you were a 5. I think you're about an 8.5, and acknowledged drinking about a half a fifth of tequila. And that may be about right. People often minimize how much they drank, but that certainly could get you up to this 192 level. So Daniel has lots of experience as a probation agent. He made this report in good faith. You've done everything that I've asked you to do, essentially. You've gone to get an assessment. You've done the victim impact panel. You're involved in AA. This accident occurred in November, which will tell you how crappy this season has been. It already had several inches of snow on the ground by November 9th. But you were dangerous. I don't have to like it, but that's what the law says. There's also a case called the People of Auburn Hills. I can't remember the defendant's name. I called the Auburn Hills case, which says there is a requirement that district judges sentence proportionally. I'm not really sure what that means. That proportionality is a big deal in circuit court, felonies with the guidelines. But I'm going to go with Daniel's assessment. I think you could use a short term of probation to ensure that you keep doing what you're doing. You've done it now because you had criminal charges hanging over your head. You don't have any charges pending, but I'd like to keep you on this path. I'm very pleased you've been plugged into AA. It's just down the street from your house. You're going to a couple of them. And you had done this, you had a long period of sobriety, but you never got arrested before. At least not for any of this, at least that we could find. But I am going to do a 12-month probation. It sounds like you were doing like ninja stuff in there and your gun went off. Tell me what happened.
The whole wasn't really anything. I would, like you explained, reckless. I was handed a firearm that wasn't mine, that I was told was clear. And the person that handed me the firearm and said it was clear, I did trust at the time.
Oh, I thought it was your gun.
No, sir.
I misunderstood, but I thought you were doing this kind of stuff with it. You talking to me kind of thing?
No.
All right. All right. Well, tell me what happened.
I was handed the firearm by Annalise. She said it was clear and everything. I have been woken up by her. We have been arguing for the last 2 days.
Now, she is the mother of your child?
No.
But
She
your
was just a girlfriend.
All right.
Things had been rocky between the two of us the last couple of weeks, and I was trying to find a place to move to because I'm from Indiana, and I was just trying to find a place to move out and keep my job at IAC and everything. And it was a Saturday morning. She woke me up. And she was planning on going shooting with one of her friends. I don't go with her when she does that. She was like just talking. She had a couple of her guns out already. It was weird to wake up to that, kind of disconcerting. But then she handed me a firearm. She's like, "Here, it's cleared." I'm not even sure what she said to me exactly, but she's like, "It's cleared. Here, hold this." And I'm just barely awake. I had just kicked my feet onto the floor, off the bed, and she hands me the pistol. And the slide was already back. I didn't check it. I assumed it was cleared, like she said. I let the slide rack forward but it was not like aiming all crazy or anything, because I had it pointed away from both of us toward the floor and angled down toward the floor a little bit at the wall, away from everyone. And when that slide kicked forward, somehow there was still a round in it.
All right, so this was a Glock 9?
It wasn't a Glock, sir. It was, I believe, a Palmetto State Armory was the name of it. It was like a Glock clone. It looked like a Glock, yes, sir.
Okay. And you had actually dumped the magazine out of it?
She handed me, I was just awake. She said it was clear. I assumed the magazine was already out. I think there was still one in the chamber possibly.
Well, what she says, that you guys had been arguing. They were just out there the day before for a domestic assault. Then she said Michael was doing military maneuvers with a handgun.
Not at all.
He then pointed the gun at the wall and shot it. She advised that he racked the gun slide back multiple times, was dropping the mag and putting it back into the gun multiple times as well. Michael's in the military and has experience with guns. He has PTSD and was not doing well. And then you shot a hole in the wall and the room the child was in the next room. So her version of what you were doing this gun and yours don't match.
Absolutely.
Although what you told me is enough for the plea. Then you said he believed the gun was unloaded because he had dropped the magazine. I asked him if he checked the slide. He said he did not. The scary thing about this case,
Lo más asustadizo de este caso es
is that you were driving to a job interview.
usted iba a una entrevista de trabajo así.
Your blood alcohol was 0.238.
El nivel de alcoholemia salió .238.
Someone called in a be on the lookout because your car was all over the road.
Alguien llamó a una llamada de alerta porque su auto iba por ambos lados del carril.
You need to build up a tolerance
Uno tiene que lograr tener una tolerancia
to get that drunk.
para poder estar tan ebrio.
Sí, eso es cierto. Iba,
Yes, that's true.
Especially if you're drinking beer.
Sobre todo si está tomando cerveza.
sí, cuando estaba manejando, no,
When I was driving, no.
lo estaba tomando cuando estaba en mi cuarto.
I was drinking when I was in my room.
Yes, I know, but you have to drink a lot of beer. If you're drinking whiskey or tequila or something, it's much less volume that you have to drink to get that high of a blood alcohol level.
Sí, pero si estuviera tomando whisky o tequila, está más concentrado y llegaría a ese nivel mucho más rápido.
This blood alcohol is like 15 beers worth.
Este nivel de alcohol sería como 15 cervezas que habría tomado.
And you had such poor insight.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Insight as
Well,
to
such poor understanding
que usted no entendía no entendía muy bien.
that you didn't think you were very drunk.
Usted no pensaba que estaba súper ebrio.
And you were going to apply for a job.
Usted iba en camino a solicitar un trabajo.
This is very serious business.
Eso es un asunto muy grave.
You were driving with a blood alcohol almost 3 times the legal limit.
Usted estaba conduciendo un auto con casi 3
don't-
veces, excediendo 3 veces el límite legal.
You don't have a valid driver's license.
No tiene una licencia vigente de conducir.
You don't have lawful residency status.
No tiene situación migratoria regularizada.
And you're weaving all over the road.
Y está viajando a ambos carriles.
So that citizens call and say, hey, watch out for this car.
Entonces los ciudadanos llaman y dicen, hey, hacen una llamada de alerta para que anden buscando tal auto.
Then they arrest you.
Luego le detienen
Sí. Está bien.
And you say you're fine.
y usted dice que está bien.
So this is a difficult sentence for me.
Para mí eso es una sentencia difícil.
I have a philosophical issue with placing people on probation when they don't have lawful residency status.
Yo tengo un problema filosófico a colocar personas en libertad condicional cuando no tienen su situación migratoria regularizada.
If I give you a lengthy jail sentence,
Si le encierro por mucho tiempo en la cárcel,
it will greatly increase the likelihood that you will get deported.
aumenta la probabilidad de la deportación.
So I gave you 2 days of jail,
Por eso le di solamente 2 días de cárcel,
which you should consider to be a gift. All right, why don't you come forward? The law requires that I adjourn these matters at least 10 days to allow victim input. I like to do it anyway because I like to know what the complainant has to say. Are you Angelica Burke?
Yes.
And this happened at you guys' room at the Tower Motel on February 8th. He dumped some water on you and some other stuff. What would you like me to know?
If I'm being honest, he needs to go to jail. That's that. This isn't the only incident. I was afraid to report any of the incidents. The last incident I did report, I never followed through with,
Last incident before this or after this?
before this one.
Okay.
The officer kept trying to come out to the motel, but I ended up leaving to go with my aunt in Hillsdale. And then I ended up coming back, which I know was stupid on my part, but he is,
Well, this was February 9th. How much time after that first incident you're talking about was this?
this was literally a week or two before this big incident.
Okay. Now, you dumped some beer out, but his blood alcohol came back as 0. Do you remember what the whole fight was about?
Him being gone all night or all day, pretty much.
And you said, if I hadn't called her, you probably would have killed me tonight.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So he says he blacks out and doesn't remember anything when you ask him about it. Which, okay, fine, whatever. But you know your limits, you know, if you're gonna sit there and hold me against the wall with your forearm against my throat, you got some issues. Or if you're gonna freaking throw me against the wall, fine. But stop drinking. He needs help. He needs major help.
Well, I was interested because he had been drinking. He takes off. He doesn't have any insurance. He doesn't have a license. He doesn't have proper plates. They give him a PBT and it comes back as 0-0.
Which literally he would, when he come home, he was staggering. He couldn't freaking walk. He was literally falling over his own shoes.
So that was a surprise to me. I think you're going to be a probationer that's going to do everything this probation officer is going to ask him to do. I want you to go with Daniel. We'll get you plugged into this. And then I hope things get better. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Abby.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for your patience.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one, Paul.
Thank you.
Over the course of one morning, one judge in a Michigan district courtroom handled 6 separate cases. He caught an attorney fibbing about his client's record, and did it gently, almost as an aside. He read 2 completely contradictory accounts of a gun going off in an apartment and accepted a guilty plea while putting it on record that both stories cannot be true. He explained to a man with a .238 blood alcohol that the reason he felt fine enough to drive to a job interview was the same reason he was sitting in a courtroom. He delivered a warning to that man about what comes next if he does it again. 2 days of jail, described as a gift. He listened to a pregnant victim describe being held against a wall by her throat, watched the man responsible deny a bond violation to his face, and calmly, without raising his voice, you said, "Either you're lying or she's lying." And then he wrapped up the morning by looking at a grieving veteran, a man who crashed drunk with a gun in the car, who went down to the river and hit a pool cue case before the police arrived, and said simply, "I think you're sad. I hope things get better." That is the job. Not one version of it, all of it, on the same morning, in the same room. Sharp when sharpness is needed, firm when firmness is required, and merciful when mercy is the most honest thing left to offer. If you found this case as eye-opening as we did, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more real courtroom breakdowns, because justice never gets old.